Hi, I'm Jeremy.
I'm Megan.
And we're back with another episode of Recipes and Recollections. What's the plan today?
We are going to make a dish called chicken a la Karl-a-Kate. It's chicken with vegetables, all cooked in the oven, so sounds delicious.
Yay!
Yay!
As usual, let's start with the ingredients and then stick around at the end and we'll learn a little bit about Walter Brewing Company.
Oh, onion,
Chicken thighs.
kosher salt,
Coarse.
coarse kosher salt.
Chicken broth. Carrots. Rosemary. Sage, rosemary, and thyme.
Potatoes.
White wine.
Hi. Good morning. No, good afternoon, whatever.
Whatever day it is.
Whatever day, we don't know. Time doesn't have any meaning anymore.
Time's just a construct.
Time is a construct. All right, we're here. We're making chicken a la Karl-a-Kate. It's pretty simple, actually. So it shouldn't take us that long, but I'll probably just ramble and make it just as long as in the other video.
Yeah, that's what we always say. Oh, this is gonna be short.
Yeah, this won't take very long, and then it's like. What I'm gonna start by doing is slicing a carrot. Because essentially what's gonna happen is we're gonna make little packets with the vegetables, the chicken, and some wine and chicken broth, and it's gonna cook in the oven in its little foil packet, and it's going to all cook together. Essentially what we're gonna do before we assemble all of the little packets is just kind of, you know, pre-slice all of our vegetables, and I'm gonna put them in bowls, and then we can kind of just assemble and then put them on our pan. This recipe is very vague. It does not say like how much of each thing. The only thing it tells us is 2 to 3 pieces of chicken per person. So when we get to that, I'll talk about chicken. And then it's just like carrots, potatoes, onions, all sliced. So I'm gonna just start with 1 carrot and see how much we get, and I can always do another one. So it is 1 carrot. I think I'm gonna do half of another one.
So Meg is using our Cutco peeler. Fun fact about me, I actually used to sell knives door to door. Not the easiest sell. I'd show up at your house, I'd knock on your door, and I would say, let me come in and show you how sharp my knives are. Don't always get the best response to that. And beyond that, they made you buy your own supplies in order to sell them. So it was a bit of a racket, but I do still have my Cutco peeler. It seems to work pretty good. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Just like any peeler, I
Works
guess.
Great.
There wasn't any special selling point on the peeler, but we did. Ooh, that's another thing I have is the.
Oh, those are great.
Cutco super shears, and if I actually did get past the point of getting in your house, then I would show you how good these shears were by cutting a penny in half.
This is now a Cutco infomercial. So we have our carrots. I like these little red potatoes. I just would like not have super big pieces of potato because you want to make sure that it cooks through. But you could use any potato you want. Oh no! We gotta lose potato.
Better than a hot potato.
Yeah. The next thing we're gonna do is our onion. And what I'm gonna just do is just cut this in half and then kind of just slice it. And then I can go back if they're really big pieces and cut those in half. I just did a whole onion, but again, we'll kind of, when we assemble our little packets, we can kind of eyeball how much we want. Oh no. Nice. So, carrots, potatoes, onions. I saved cutting our chicken for last. This recipe just says chicken. You could use chicken breast if you want. I actually probably wouldn't recommend that because it's gonna spend an hour in the oven, and yes, it is gonna be in a little packet and it's gonna keep a lot of moisture, but chicken breast tends to dry out pretty easily. I think I may have said this before, like we don't eat any chicken breast anymore. I only buy chicken thighs. We're gonna make 4 packets out of this, so I'm cutting our chicken thighs into smaller pieces. If you wanted to, you could like get, say, a chicken thigh for each person. I would, still cut it into pieces. All right, here's the fun part. For each serving, cut a 16-inch square. Do I have to do it like this?
You could just eyeball it.
I don't know, 16?
Yeah, I would just
It's fine.
trust, follow your heart.
If you're a very precise person, you can do it exactly how this says. Y'all know, Jeremy knows, I'm not the most precise cook because most of the time it'll work out even if you don't do it totally perfect. Place a layer of sliced vegetables on each piece of foil and top with chicken pieces. So let's do that. So I'm just gonna do like a little handful carrots, a handful of potatoes, beautiful, a good amount of onion, these 3 pieces of chicken, so 1, 2, 3, beautiful, okay. And then it says add a bit of dried rosemary. We have fresh rosemary. You could use dried. You could use a lot of different herbs actually. We have our chicken on top of our vegetables, and then what we're gonna do, like I said, I have fresh rosemary. I think it has more, fresh herbs are always gonna have more flavor than dried herbs. That's just the way it is. What could work is sometimes you'll see those like Italian dried herb like blends. That would work fine. Most of those have like thyme, basil, oregano, rosemary. I think any of those flavors are gonna work really well. For this specific recipe, we're doing rosemary, so I'm just gonna kind of break up a few little sprigs. And then we're gonna do some salt and pepper.
This would probably be a good recipe to do with kids.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you could, they could chop stuff and then the assembly, The only thing with kids, you just have to be careful with the
wine.
I was gonna say the raw chicken, but yes, also the wine.
Don't want the kids breaking in the wine.
The last step is, almost the last step. Sprinkle with 3 to 4 tablespoons of broth, wine, or a blend of both. So we're gonna do both. We're gonna do chicken broth and white wine. If you are not a drinker or you don't like wine or you just don't want to use it, I think you would be fine without it. And I think that's kind of what it says. Broth, wine, or both. So that's kind of up to you. But you do want to make sure you have some liquid in here because that's going to help keep the moisture. It's going to steam all of the things in there. Oh,
Careful.
Don't make it a mess. Okay, got our chicken broth. Jeremy might have to open this for me. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Got this nifty little gripper thing. Yes.
Couldn't you talk your aunt out of giving you that for the Christmas
No.
swap?
Okay,
You guilt tripped her into giving you half of her Christmas present?
Okay, so my family plays, I don't know what you would call it.
Yankee swap.
Yankee swap. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Yankee swap.
We don't call it that, but anyway, you bring a gift and then people can like steal gifts and it's very competitive. My aunt got...
Or is it white elephant?
I've heard it called that, but I always thought white elephant was like gag gifts. I don't know. Tell us in the comments what you do for it at the holidays and what this, I don't know what this game is called.
A big old hawk just landed
Really?
on a tree. I'm gonna get a shot.
Okay. We're easily distracted in this kitchen. Wait, I want to eat.
Wow, so cool. The big one.
Anyway, my family plays this thing at Christmas, and my aunt ended up with the gift, you know, that I wanted, which was like a bunch of kitchen stuff. And I was very sad, and she gave me some of it. And one of the things she gave me was this like grippy, grippy thing to open stuff and some spatulas. I did not guilt her. Anyway, back to the wine. We have white wine. I'm gonna do about a tablespoon of that. A little bit more. Ooh. Also, just be aware that unless you're making a bunch of these packets, you will have leftover wine. So just be prepared for that.
I feel like Kathy Lee, where it's only 10:18 in the morning.
Yeah, we're filming this in the morning.
We already got the wine open.
Yeah, it is like, what, the third, fourth hour of today's show? Just drinking wine, it's 10 in the morning. I'm not, but
Kathy Lee is.
Kathy Lee would be. After we've done that, it says fold foil on the diagonal, forming a triangular packet.
Gotta use your origami skills.
I know. Oh, kind of like this. Again, yes, this would be better if this was in a square. But you just kind of want to fold it over. Fold it to like one edge. And then seal edges well, bake for 1 hour. So I'm just gonna kind of fold this up. You can kind of roll the little edges. Be careful though, you have a lot of liquid in there. Or I do. Maybe I'll do a little bit less on the next one. And the reason you want to seal the edges well is so that as it's cooking, it keeps that moisture inside, and it's gonna kind of steam everything as well. You'll see this method a lot with fish. A lot of times they'll do it with like parchment instead, but they'll do vegetables and then a piece of fish and you put it in the oven.
I feel like that might be good camping too, like throw it, let it sizzle over the campfire.
So we've got our little chicken packet, and I'm just gonna set it on our tray, and then I'm gonna
make... It's like a little foil empanada.
Yeah, there's all the goodness in there. So then, now essentially we're just gonna do that 3 more times, or however many times, you know, however many packets you wanna make. And then we're gonna put them in the oven. We have made our little packets and wrapped them up, and I have them on a sheet tray. Like I said, I'm just doing 4. What's cool about this is, yeah, you could just do like 2, just get the stuff for 2, you could do 6, you could do 10. This is going to go in the oven. I have it preheated to 350 degrees, and it's going to cook for, just a bake for 1 hour. All right, so I'm gonna pop this in. Did we read this little snippet? Should I read it?
Yeah, you.
2 pioneering families from Pueblo, the E.I. Crockett's and the Martin Walters, founder of the Walter Brewing Company, had children who married and lived at the beautiful Karl-a-Kate Ranch in Beulah, where this recipe originated.
We've been to Beulah.
We have been to Beulah.
Camped in Ophir Creek.
Camped in Beulah, been to the mountain park.
I once gave a talk to the Beulah Historical Society about the history of the Union Depot.
So these were in the oven for an hour. I wouldn't say this is a quick dinner, you know, because it is in the oven for an hour, but it's pretty like straightforward, not a lot of ingredients. I think this would be really good if you have kids too, because you have veggies and protein. So yeah, we're gonna eat this with a salad. It should be delicious.
Ooh, steamy.
Steamy. Little packet.
I hope you enjoyed your chicken a la Karl-a-Kate as much as we did, and as much as all those visitors to that ranch in Beulah did over all those years. Now that we've done our cooking, let's go ahead and learn a little bit about Walter's Brewing Company, because remember, one of the creators of the Karl-a-Kate Ranch in Beulah became one of the founders of Walter's Brewing Company, one of the most historic brewing companies in Colorado. In the late 1800s, German immigrant Martin Walter purchased the Pueblo Brewery for $7,000, and in the tradition of his brothers in Wisconsin, established his own brewery. Thus, the tradition of the Walter's Brewing Company began in Pueblo. Brewed with clean Colorado water, the company supplied brews under dozens of labels in more than 20 states and became a Pueblo legend. The saga continued even through Prohibition, as Walter's was one of just 4 breweries to survive the ban on alcohol. In 1975, the brewery property sold, and the doors of Walter's were closed by the new owner. Fast forward to early 2014, when a group of Puebloans working with the Walter family served up the family recipe again to Pueblo and all of Colorado. Since their rebirth, Walter's has been a great partner of History Colorado. They're a staple at the Bruja Brew Fest held every year at El Pueblo History Museum, and their green chili beer was a hit at the History Colorado Center's Historic Styles Brew Fest. In addition to their green chili beer and their always popular Walter's Original, Walter's Brewery and Taproom makes several varieties of beers every generation can appreciate. From Pueblo's forebears who labored at the steel mill, to the teachers, artists, and essential workers who keep Pueblo lively today, all can look to Walter's and find a beer to quench their thirst. Walter's has stood the test of time, proving that some things never change, like great beer bringing people together.